What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast. And this week's sponsorship is from Newsly. Newsly is a all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and read them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time in ever of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. Browse articles from topic choose, start playing, start scrolling, and start listening. You can follow any topics as you specifically as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, even for the Kardashians. It will find you on the latest article and you read them to you out loud. And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, MrGentleman Like That podcast, is on there as well. Yes, it is. Shout out to Newsly for that. I started using it as my default podcast app. Download and use Newsly for free from www.newsly.me or from the link in the description. Use the promo code MrGentleman that I will also put in the description and receive 1 month free premium subscription. So you already know, y'all, download Newsly now. Check it out. Support them, y'all. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, your host of MrGentleman Like That podcast. And on this episode, we just hit a major milestone. This is officially our 200th episode of MrGentleman Like That podcast. And all I'm gonna say is, wow, thank you everybody that been listening to MrGentleman Like That podcast from day one, January 20th, 2019, all the way to now. And thank you everybody that joined me on this journey along the way. You know, for others, you don't understand how much this means to me. And I just want to say thank you. You know, from if you look to every main series, every spin-off series, every bonus episode that I put out, I thank y'all. Of course, I'm not going to dive too much on celebration because we're going to save that for the 5-year anniversary episode on January 20th. We're going to celebrate a lot on the episode, but I just want to say thank you everybody that listened to the official 200 episode of MrGentleman Like That podcast and enjoy this episode. You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 7. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, 1/4 of the Premier Boys podcast, and your host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Welcome to another new episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Hope all is well. I know I did not put out an episode last week. Things just did not go as planned, but I am back with a new episode, and this is episode 132, season 7, episode 8. But also, this is officially the 200th episode of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And I just want to say thank you everybody that supported MrGentleman Like That podcast from day one. And thank you for everybody that supported the main series of MrGentleman Like That podcast, all of the spin-off series shows of MrGentleman Like That podcast, and even the bonus episodes of MrGentleman Like That podcast. This is a big milestone, and I know I'm gonna make sure that I will do 100 more 500, episode 500, we'll get to even 1,000 episodes. Thank y'all for supporting MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. It really means a lot. And on this episode, we are going to reflect on the year 2023. What can we expect in the year 2024? And why did I name this episode Growth? And y'all already know what to do. Sit back, relax, and I'll be right back.
This is Natalie Armstrong, and you're listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, I'll be giving y'all the MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, when things don't go your way, change the plan, but never the vision. And I say this because things not always going to go your way, and we're going to hit roadblocks along the way. So it's when things don't work out, sometimes you just have to change the plan, but never the vision. And that is today, MrGentleman Facts quote of the day. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, and I am the host of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And this commercial break is brought to you by MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, we interview many guests about their life journey, pretty much where they come from and where they're at now. Also promoting their brands or whatever they're doing at the time they come on the show. We also have the host talk about personal stories about himself and everything that he's been through. And also we have fun conversation about anything music, anything old school, relationships, wrestling, and many more. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast every Sundays at 12 a.m. We are also on every Thursdays at 12 a.m. for Spin-Up Series Thursdays, where we have all of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast spin-off series all in one day, where we have a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 a.m. The Old School Show with myself and the Star Roddy Rod every fourth Thursday at 12 a.m. And we have Date Night Talk Podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B every second and third Thursdays at 12 a.m. And y'all can tune in to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pods, and many more. Or y'all can check it out on the official website of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com, www.realmrgentlemanlifestylepodcast.com. And tune in every Sundays and Thursdays at 12 a.m. for MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in to this commercial break of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Cheers!
Hi Miracles, it's Mariah Dumas and you are now tuned in to MrGentleman's Lifestyle Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, we are going to reflect on the year 2023. And yes, I know we still got a couple more weeks left, but I already got episode planned. So we're just gonna do this type of episode right now. And if I could describe 2023 in one word, I will describe it as growth. And I say that because I feel like out of any other years from 2020, 2021, 2022, I felt like I grew a lot more this year than I did any other year. Before we dive more into that, let's talk about the meaning of growth. One of the meanings of growth is something that had grown or is growing. And to describe the meaning to my year this year, I felt like as a person that I am slowly growing. Even what I was going through, I still was growing the best way that I can. This year, I felt more like me than any other years. I felt more like me. I started to focus on my health again after not going to the doctor for a whole year last year. I started taking my health more serious and get to the steps of loving me again. I started to open up to people, family and friends, or things that have been bothering me for years. And I started to let them know that for the last couple of years I just been feeling this way. And a lot of people knew that. And it made me feel so much better that I started to open up to many people that I needed to tell how I really felt. And it felt really good doing that. I even fixed some friendships that, we had some misunderstanding, we had some issues. And I managed to fix those this year. But I also managed to let some friendships go that felt like didn't deserve to be a part of my life, because where I was going in life, they was far behind. And it was no use of saving them. And through other friendships that I did not get a chance to fix, but I'm pretty sure that I could get that done in 2024. I even have a little bit more fun this year. I feel like out of any other year, I went out a little bit more and try to have fun, because life is too short to not do anything. So this year I had a little bit more fun. A lot of major milestones happened this year for my bros. Many of my bros had kids this year. Many of my bros got married this year. And my bros and friends started new ventures, started new milestones, started on businesses that they talk about. Some even spoke about on the show, but they are now doing it. And I just want to say to all those people that started new ventures, started having kids, and got married, that I'm proud of each and every one of y'all. And I'm rooting for y'all. And I know big things are going to continue to come. Also, we had major milestones on the podcast this year. On MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast, multi-time #1 on the charts. We just hit a milestone on 200 episodes. We got new supporters, new listeners, and a lot of positive reviews on the show. More than we ever had. Season 6 was the main highlight of the show, and like I said, for that, thank you everybody. It really means a lot. Because y'all don't understand how hard I work on this show. Some sleepless nights, days, even days where I didn't feel like doing it, even days where I felt like I wanted to give up. I realized that, why I'm doing it and why God put me on this earth, and I just put my blood, sweat, and tears on the show. So for everybody that supported me, I thank y'all, and that really means a lot. And even guys, thank the people who thought about me this year too, because negative reaction only pushed me to go even harder. There's many people who not just in the podcast community, but people actually knows that not support me for whatever reason. But it only made me realize that not everybody gonna like what you put out. Not everybody is gonna like you. And I learned to accept that this year. I learned to accept that no matter how much growing you had done, how much of a different person you become, people always gonna see you as the old you, and because you are that you, they're not gonna support you based on that. And I just learned to accept that. Because you can't change everybody. People could change their mind on its own, and when that time comes, they were joining the journey. But I just appreciate each and everybody that had been there for me from day one and continue to be there now. So I thank y'all. And of course, everything this year have been all great. I do dealt with anxiety. I do dealt with depression. I do dealt with negative thoughts. I do dealt with that I was going to give up. I spoke about that earlier this year. But as I fell in all those things, I look back at the accomplishments and I look back at why I was doing this in the first place. And that only pushed me to go harder. It only pushed me that I gotta get to the vision that I want to. I gotta get to the life that I deserve. And if I keep going, then I know that I'm gonna get there. And while everybody else that influenced by me, if I was to give up, I let all those people down. Because I know what I would put on this earth to do is to help others be the best version of themselves. Yeah, but you always gotta remember, even through hard time is temporary, and there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's up to you to get out of that tunnel. So you just always have to remind yourself. And I feel like this year was more about growth. Of course, I don't got everything that I accomplished in my goals yet, but I feel like out of any other year that I'm more hopeful than I felt any other year. Usually around this time I usually sad. Usually around this time, but for once I'm not. I feel like I know things is changing. I know big things is coming. You just have to put in the work at whatever you want to do. Even sometimes you have to step back to step one and take something that you don't want to do, just so you get to where you want to do. When you get to the place where you want to go. Something just has to start to the bottom till you get back to where you need to be. And if that where I have to do, then I would do that. But yeah, like I said, this year for me, how I would describe myself for the year 2023 is growth. And honestly, I feel like 2024 pretty much would be a continuation of that. But the only difference is I would make sure everything that I pray for would definitely come true. I know everything that I work hard for will be worth it. And even when time get hard, just can't give up. And thank you everybody that took the time to listen to this episode of MrGentleman Like That podcast. And I'm proud of each and every one of y'all, and just continue to aim for the lifestyle that you deserve. So when your time does come, you'll be ready for it. And I'll be right back. Hello, everybody. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman, like the podcast and the Premier Boy podcast. And this commercial is brought to you by the Premier Boy podcast, where where we talk about anything about the culture. Hosted by myself, Ken, aka MrGentleman, Mr. Aaron Sands from King Talk with Aaron Sands, the Star Riding Ride, who is also my co-host of the Old School Show, and Long Live the Chief Mally Bow. And we talk many topics from politics, music, sex, love, relationships, and many more. And also every topic that's going on in the news right now. Many of our topics are very controversial, and the podcast show might not be for everybody because we talk about many explicit content. And yeah, so if y'all decided to check out the show, y'all be warned because y'all might need a drink or two. And yeah, because this podcast is so crazy. I'm shocked it had not got canceled yet. So if y'all looking forward to listen to the Premier Boy podcast, check it out on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many more. Each and every Wednesday at 12 a.m. You can check out the Premier Boy podcast with myself, Mr. Aaron Sands, Star Riding Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mally Mal. This is your boy Ken, aka MrGentleman. Have a good day and night wherever you're listening to this episode. Now back to the show. Yeah! I just want to take the time to thank everybody for tuning into this latest episode of the Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And y'all already know where I'm at every Sundays for the main series of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Every Thursdays for spin-off series Thursdays, where we have shows like a conversation about music podcast every first Thursday at 12 p.m. Date Night Talk podcast with myself and Miss Vanna B. Every second and third Thursday at 12 p.m. And the Old School Show with myself and the Star Riding Ride every fourth Thursday at 12 p.m. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Pods, and many more. Y'all can rate the show 5-star rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Podchasers. The more y'all rate the show, the more people know about Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. You could also check me out on the Premier Boys podcast with myself, Aaron Keto Sands, the Star Riding Rod, and Long Live the Chief Mally Bow. Season 4 of the Premier Boys podcast, January 24th, 2024, a new season of the Premier Boys podcast. You could also check out other shows from the Premier Podverse, King Talk with Aaron Sands, hosted by Aaron Keto Sands, every Friday at 12 p.m. Star Time Podcast, hosted by the Star Riding Rod, every Monday at 12 p.m. And the new show, Welcome to the Trilogy Podcast, hosted by Long Live the Chief Mally Mal, coming soon. Check out and support every show in the Premier Podverse Network. If you want to be guests on Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, send me a bio about yourself and everything that you do to my email, KenYPGENT@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Ken_Mr. Gentleman. I repeat, Ken, KEN _Mr. MR Gentleman, GENTLEMAN, and we can set something up because I am looking for more guests for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast, main series and spin-off series Thursdays. Also, save the date, January 20th, 2024, Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast 5-year anniversary episode. January 20th, 2024. I am looking for people to send me an anniversary message. If you are interested in sending me an anniversary message, just hit me up and I will send you the link and what you need to do. Remember, I will not know what you say, because I will only hear it on January 20th. So you want to do an anniversary message, just hit me up and we can set something up. I got you. At this time, it's time for everybody's favorite segment. It's time for Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts, where I shout out 4 to 5 shows and we give them their flowers. And the first show that we're gonna introduce is a show that we mentioned last season, but we're gonna do it again. There's a lot of these shout outs will be from that I already mentioned, but I want to shout them out again. The Things About Us podcast, hosted by Willie and Fiona. They talk about relationships and many more. This is a really dope show. They had many guests that come on the show. I was on a show earlier this year. It was a fun experience. And y'all check out the Things About Us podcast. It's a really amazing show. Check them out. The next show that I'm going to talk about is Ignite Your Power, hosted by Kathy Mai. And this is a very inspirational show. We'll talk about many inspirational topics. This is one of the new podcasts that I listen to. And this is a really dope show. I enjoyed it so far. Check out Ignite Your Power podcast right now. Next show that I'm going to talk about is Kathy Vines podcast, hosted by Shantinique. Another podcast that I mentioned before. She talk about many topics. She do amazing movie reviews. And she also have a spin-off show called the Nicki Minaj Corner. Check out Kathy Vines podcast, a really dope show. And last but not least, we're going to talk about Pedal of Support podcast, hosted by Mama D. This show is really dope. She give many advice to our audience. She have inspiring sleepover episode where she interview guests and they tell you about their dreams and everything. And this is also amazing. So check out Pedal of Support as well. And check out the 4 shows that I just mentioned. The Things About Us podcast, Ignite Your Power, Kathy Vibes, and Pedal of Support. Check out the 5 show on this week with the Gentleman Lifestyle Shoutouts. And y'all already know, add me on Good Pod, Ken with the Gentleman. Y'all already know Good Pod Kid is a many independent podcasters. You see what everybody listens to. You can rate each other's shows, and we have the charts. At this time, it's time for the Gentleman Lifestyle Achievements, where we spotlight everything that the Gentleman Lifestyle podcast is doing. First thing first, this is our official 200 episodes. Once again, thank y'all for listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle podcast from day one. From the main series, spin-off series, all the bonus episodes, and many more. Thank y'all for the many support. Of course, we had the charts due to this recording. We had dropped a lot, but we didn't put out an episode last week, so we dropped a lot. But before we drop, the Gentleman Like the Pocket was number 1 for 20 days for society and culture. And that was just amazing. And thank y'all for supporting Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Always means a lot. And yeah. Also, check out the official website of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, www.realmrgentlemanlikethepodcast.com. You can listen to every episode of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, all 194 episodes, because 6 episodes are not on the website. You gotta check the rest of them on YouTube, but you can check most of the episodes on the website. Watch every video of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, from the audio episodes of Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast TV, Mr. Gentleman Fact Quote Today, and many more. Look at every guest that came on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. All 63 guests that came on Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast. Check every guest appearance that I've been on. We've done a lot. And also buy some merch from the Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast merch store at tpublic.com, or just search Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast store on tpublic, or you can buy it to the website. We have shirts, hoodies, mugs, and many more. There's many ways to support Mr. Gentleman Like the Podcast, but buy some merch as well, because that would mean a lot. And yeah, and also check out the website www.realmrgentlemanlikethepodcast.com. Once again, thank y'all for tuning into this latest episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. This Thursday, Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast presents Date Night Talk Podcast is back. Myself and Miss Vanna B. It's a Christmas episode, and also next Sunday we have a Christmas episode of Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast with Jalen. Turn on the show. Have a good day or night, wherever you're listening to this episode.
Hi, I'm Gia.
And I'm Layla, and we're from the podcast She Fucking Did That.
And you're listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast. Enjoy!